everyone. Welcome to This Day. It is Thursday, November 19th. We have a few meetings to tell you about today. We have at 9:30 this morning the United Architectural Controls and Standards Committee, and that will be on our website where you can go to lagunawoodsvillage.com/meetings. Then at 10 a.m. live right here on Village Television, we have the third mutual ballot proposition town hall, and they'll be talking about that and what you need to know regarding that ballot proposition. And then at 1:30 we have the United Governing Documents Review, and that will also be available on the website. You can go to lagunawoodsvillage.com/meetings. Now on our show today we have Paul Ingalls, who is here on behalf of RadNet to tell you about some of the things that they've got coming up and what they have been doing for the year. And then we have a security check-in with Director of Security, Carlos Rojas, who's going to talk to us about theft and being aware of packages in your car as well as on your doorstep. So perfect timing. All right, let's give you the resources we normally do for COVID-19. You can go to covid19.ca.gov where you can follow along with the governor's ideas and plans. OCHealthInfo.com where you can get all of the numbers of COVID-19 people in ICU or in the hospitals on that website. Or you can call their hotline 714-834-2000. We keep our website updated, LagunaWoodsVillageAlerts.com, on a regular basis, so you could check in there. Or you could email us any questions or concerns to info@LagunaWoodsVillage.com. Now the weather is, like I mentioned, pretty much every day this week been quite lovely. We're waking up to gorgeous skies, maybe a little fog along the coast, so we're going to see that this morning. But it's going to be burning off quite well to a 69-56, partly cloudy tomorrow with a 70-54, and then sunny for the next 3 days. 70-50, 73-49, and 72-49. So a very pleasant weekend. All right, then our sunrise this morning was at 6:27, and the sunset will be 4:46. Yum, there's another delicious dessert that I came across, and I think I'm on a salted caramel thing. This is salted caramel apple crisp, and super easy to make, and those are just some scoops of ice cream, and yum yum. You can find that at countryliving.com. If you have an idea for a dessert that you would like to share with us, please email it to lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. All right, when we return, we will have RadNet, so stay tuned.
Most real estate agents stick to the 3 Ps of marketing. They place it on the MLS, they put up a sign, and pray that it sells. Laguna Premier Realty takes a different approach to marketing your home. From professional and high-quality photos, to high-definition video, single property websites, and 3D virtual tours. We will make your property stand out and, most importantly, sell. So whether you are looking to list your current home or find your dream home in the village, Laguna Premier Realty is here to help.
Welcome back. Well, today I'm joined by Paul Ingalls, who is the Tulsa project manager for RadNet. And we were fortunate enough to talk to Dr. Princenthal not too long ago regarding this treatment. And Paul is in charge and he can answer pretty much all your questions about it. So thank you for joining me, Paul. I hope that's not too much pressure.
Thank you. Terrific introduction. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Now, I know this has not been on the market super long. How did you come across it?
Well, we began looking at it when it was in clinical trials in Europe about 5 years ago. And then in 2017, they initiated clinical trials here in the US. And some of those trials were conducted right in our local backyard at UCLA. Mm-hmm. And the clinical trials looked very promising as terms of a new option to treat prostate disease. And it piqued our interest because our core business is the diagnostic imaging arena. And when we think about diagnostic imaging, Lisa, you know, how do we enhance that and add a possible treatment phase to this program? And essentially what it is we came up with this Tulsa program, but the data looked really exciting. in terms of a new offering for treating a prostate disease.
Well, and that's exactly what Dr. Princenthal was referring to. I mean, he seems quite
Right.
positive that it is a great alternative out there for those that fall within that particular category of men. Tell me how non-surgically alternative it is used for prostate issues, just briefly. I mean, he was great and gave us a whole chart and stuff, but from your perspective.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to overload you with data detail here today, but it's really exciting because it's an incision-free option that really combines real-time MRI imaging with directional thermal ultrasound. The thermal ultrasound delivers waves transurethral directly into the prostate and thermally ablates the tissue in the gland, meaning that the prostate tissue is destroyed from the heat.
Right.
And I think that's one of the really revolutionary aspects of this. The current options used today are radiation, both external and beam and HDR or high dose rate brachytherapy techniques, robotic surgery, you doing complete gland removal, and hormonal therapy or chemotherapy. So this offers a terrific option because it's an outpatient delivered program. It takes about 4.5 hours. So a patient literally comes in the morning and is out by noon. And most of these other techniques don't afford that option. And it certainly is a one treatment type of resolution to this prostate disease.
Well, exactly. And also the recovery time is remarkably shorter. And you're back to doing what you've been doing before. And
that's correct. Yes, very little impact on our daily lives. And one of the significant benefits that they measured through the clinical trials and what we've seen out of Europe is the preservation of a men's natural functions. I think that's one of the most, the biggest takeaways that when I was looking at this clinical data is that the preservation of a man's natural functions post robotic prostatectomy is the risk is very high of those occurrences. And with Tulsa, the experiments or the testing data shows that there's been very little impact on quality of life for men.
That's awesome. That is great. What would be some of the top 2 questions that you normally get from a patient?
Well, I think number one, they're looking at how do you do this non-surgically? I think that's one of the big questions. You can see the videos and you can look at our website that kind of describes the workflow and how this treatment is performed and brought about. But that's one of the questions is how do you do it? What am I experiencing when I'm going in for this treatment? What can I expect? That's number one. I think the second is the preservation of a man's male functions. Those are the 2 probably significant questions that I get, especially from the clinical side. They've done their research. They've looked at these options, and they find this option to be very interesting because it's delivered on an outpatient basis, minimal impact, no incisions or wound issues to deal with, and they're excited to learn more about it.
Now, unfortunately, because it is fairly new here, insurance really doesn't cover it. So is that going to change, do you think? I mean, I know that there's stuff in place with legislature and hopefully that'll change, but what do you think?
Well, just so you know, I mean, C codes have been applied for this approach of treatment. And it's a combination of many codes because there's a delivery of anesthesia, there's nursing care, there's the treatment itself, the ablation process, the real-time imaging component, and the recovery process for each and every patient. But the key aspect of this is that you also have the pre and the post-treatment care provided by the urologist that's providing the treatment to the patient. Mm-hmm. And so this complexity of codes is going to take some time to flush out. If you recall 20 years ago when robotic prostatectomy and the Da Vinci system was first coming out, it was well over 6 years before codes were placed behind that treatment. Mm-hmm. And people were paying a very large sum of cash to have this treatment, that removal available to them. Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, it's going to be a few years until we feel that there will be substantial coding and reimbursement values placed behind this treatment. So it could take a few years, but we're very optimistic that The results have been so positive. The patient feedback from the urologist perspective, the patient's perspective has been so positive. I think there'll be a very good carrying momentum to help us get codes within the next few years. Certainly isn't going to be the lengthy amount of time we've seen with some other tech becoming available via to bill our insurances for that. Currently it is set up as a cash rate program, and we have it set up as a care continuum program. So it includes the urology services for the pre-care, the treatment, as well as the post-care of the patient, and all of the facility services and the technology, all for one fee.
That's awesome. And, you know, I wish that insurance companies would come around a little quicker, because it certainly would benefit so many people. And especially because you don't necessarily have to come back to have anything fixed. I mean, it's kind of like you said, a one-time thing, right?
That's correct. That's correct. And, you know, the really remarkable thing about adding the imaging component, we can confirm the ablation of that disease within the gland. I mean, with 100% confidence, we're watching the ablation of that disease within the capsule, and we're able to really see it and ensure that we've destroyed all of the disease impacting that gentleman's gland.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. That's perfect information. Just out of curiosity, Paul, how long have you been with RadNet?
For many years. I hate to admit, but I've been with the company for many years. I'm excited to be part of a really leading edge technology program that RadNet has entrusted, you know, our team to kind of come up with the concept and integrate it into our operations. We do plan to have several facilities in Southern California over the next, year to 18 months. But our first one is open and operating at Liberty Pacific Advanced Imaging in West Hills, which is in the north end of the San Fernando Valley.
Right.
Really exciting. We've been able to deliver really positive treatments and provide men with this option. It's worked out very well so far.
Yeah, but one thing we didn't actually talk about is that RadNet is the only one on the West Coast that's doing that. So of course, your first place in West Hills. So everybody would be very excited to know when you're going to be coming here to Laguna Hills.
Well, I think probably within the next 12 months or so, we'll have our facility in Orange County open and operating, providing services. We're very excited about that, yes.
Great, great. And of course, they could always drive up there. That's not that far. And then you said obviously the recovery time is very minimal, so.
Yes, the traffic hasn't been so bad recently. So yes, it is a decent commute, but certainly it's not out of touch. I mean, we have patients coming from Washington State, Idaho, Colorado, Mississippi, all parts of the Western U.S., and people from the Pacific Rim countries have been reaching out for more information since this technology is available to them in their countries. So but due to some of the COVID processes and restrictions that we currently have, we're living and working within the framework of those guidelines right now. But yes, it's certainly not too inconvenient for a patient that might visit West Hills and have their treatment performed. But we will have another facility opened up in Orange County, hopefully within the next 12 months or so.
Excellent news. Now, if someone wants to know more information about this particular procedure, where would you send them?
Well, absolutely. There's a variety of ways to reach us. We do have a centralized phone line that they can contact. It routes directly to me. I do my best to speak with every single patient that reaches out for more information about the Tulsa program, or even about the MRI, the prostate MRI program that we have launched. And we also have an email. So you could email tulsaprostate@radnet.com. You can visit our website. Terrific amount of information that is really helpful to the patients. Provides you an overview of the program. A lot of good information there. And that website is prostate.radnet.com.
Perfect. Well, that is awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me and explaining about this fantastic alternative for all the men out there that are experiencing this type of ailment. So I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Lisa. Thank you so much for the opportunity to tell you more about our program.
You're welcome. And we'll be right back after this.
Just just wanted to let you know, in the midst of the COVID virus update, we are open. We are seeing emergency treatment. We've taken some extra precautions to make sure that our patients are safe. We're taking temperatures to make sure that no one has a fever, and we're also having patients rinse with a medication called Peroxyl for 30 seconds. And there's a number of other precautions that we've taken here in our office to make sure that everyone stays safe during this difficult time.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by the Director of Security, Carlos Rojas, who is here to talk to us about a number of different things, especially with the holidays coming up. Well, Carlos, so nice to see you. It's been a while.
Great to see you, Lisa.
Well, thanks for being with us today. And I know there's a couple of things that are coming up for the holidays, but most importantly, you know, those fires were quite a scare for many people, and we were super affected from the smoke. But, you know, tell me some of the concerns that, you know, residents had and they called into your office.
Well, yeah, we did receive numerous calls regarding the smoke, of course. And I know TV6 did put out an advisory about the unhealthy air. So I think that was well warranted. But we did have some folks who wanted a code red to go out, which is our emergency notification system to all the residents. And we had to explain to them how the system works, and then also really explain that it complements the county system, and it's really a redundant system to the county system. So to really simplify and describe it, it doesn't replace the county system, it works with the county system. So the last thing we would want to do for our residents in the village is to give contradictory information between us and the local authorities, whether it's the sheriff's department or the fire department.
So tell me what their system is called.
Their system is called Alert OC, and it's a reverse 911 system. So everybody is automatically, if they have a landline, registered in that system. If you don't have a landline, I do encourage people to go on the Alert OC website and register their cell phones, and they can also get text messages as well. But that is the county system. Now, the Code Red system is the village's emergency notification system, and that does require an opt-in. So we encourage everybody to register, and they can do that on the lagunawoodsvillage.com homepage. On the top left-hand corner, you'll see the words Code Red, and it's a simple form that can be filled out and submitted. And that places you on our emergency notification list. So, you know, keep in mind, in the event of an emergency, we would have numerous communications at various levels with county authorities. So whether you're on the Alert OC, our emergency notification system, Code Red, or even a member of one of our boards or committees, there's going to be numerous lines of communication. And, you know, what we want to do is really get the word out, make sure that the information is correct and accurate in the event that we need to use one of those emergency notification systems.
So in regards to the fires that we had, I mean, the only people that were alerted were those that were in the evacuation zones. Is that correct?
That's correct. You know, in the Orange County Fire Authority, they have a very robust emergency communication system in place, and they do both warnings, evacuation warnings, basically people alerting people that there may be an evacuation and they can voluntarily evacuate. And then they also have the mandatory evacuation orders as well. So at Laguna Woods Village, we did not experience any of that. So we weren't in any fire threat. We were in communication with both the Sheriff's Department and the Orange County Fire Authority. And had there been a threat to the village, we would have coordinated a message to go out in our emergency notification system.
So that's great. So let's just assume the village has some sort of a threat from a fire. I mean, we do have some mountains around here that could be on fire. So what would happen is, would Code Red go first, or would the reverse 911 go first?
Well, what we would do, we would coordinate that message with the county, because if they're instructing the residents in the village to shelter in place, we don't want to send out a message to have everybody evacuate, of course.
Right.
So it would depend on the dynamics of the fire, of the threat, and then they would almost go out simultaneously, if you will. And then, of course, you know, we're going to pivot off of what the county wants us to do. We don't want to create a bigger problem for our first responders.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for the clarification, because I don't think people necessarily realize that there were two different systems, but nonetheless, thank you for clarifying that. So obviously we have Thanksgiving, shopping, Christmas. I mean, I'm a little perplexed because Christmas is already here in the stores. And I mean, we just bypassed Thanksgiving. So tell me, what are some concerns that you want to alert the residents about?
Well, so of course, every holiday season, people get busy. You have family members coming over, you're buying gifts, you're getting caught up with folks maybe that you haven't talked to in a while. So there's a lot going on and people have a lot on their minds. So from a security standpoint, it's very important that they place any valuables or any purchases in the trunk of their cars where it's not visible to somebody just walking by. And I'm not only talking goods that are purchased, but also purses or anything of value. Oftentimes people think, oh, hey, I'll leave my sunglasses on the seat, and they may not view it as something of value, but somebody that may be walking by who has nefarious intentions may think it's of value to them, and they may break the window or open the door. Mm-hmm. So that gets me to my next point. It's very important for our folks to lock those doors on their cars. Oftentimes, we do have situations where folks leave their car unlocked, and then there's a saying that goes, opportunity makes the thief. And we don't want to give anybody the opportunity to steal our property, whether it's, in or around our manor or inside our vehicles. And then that brings me to my third point, Lisa, is that our packages that get delivered, let's make sure that we don't leave them out in front of the door for extended periods of time, and let's bring them inside the house and make sure that you're tracking your packages. All that's very important.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about that, but I'm glad you brought that up, because more and more people, especially with COVID, we weren't really going anywhere because nothing was open. We've been buying a lot of stuff online, and some people have packages just piled up on their doorstep. Have you had many situations that are concerning regarding those packages?
At this point, we have not, but the possibility is always there, just because are a lot of packages that are being delivered, and it's very convenient for folks to order, especially right now during the pandemic, to order via online and have it delivered. And so we just want to create that or increase that situational awareness for all our residents, and make sure that they watch out for their neighbors as well. If you see something that's been sitting out in the porch for a significant period of time, you might want to bring it to your neighbor's attention.
That's awesome. Awesome advice. Okay, so obviously we've been dealing with COVID-19 for quite some time, and we've been great about wearing the masks and social distancing. Let's talk a little bit about the resolution that was put into place.
Sure. Well, the resolution did expire. So it's very important for folks to know that we have reverted back to the state and county guidelines. And you'll still see all BMS employees will be wearing masks in their vehicles and where they're providing service to the public. But it should be noted that for our residents, the requirement is really for them to follow state law and laws of the county as it relates to COVID-19.
Yes, and I believe the majority of our residents are following the guidelines that are put out by the governor and our state and our local county. So good for them. But again, thank you for the reminder. Well, it's very nice to see you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet with us.
Great seeing you as well. Thank you for having me. And then happy holidays to all our residents, of course.
All right. We'll talk to you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this.
This crisis has changed almost everything, but not our resolve. We've pulled together, worked hard to keep each other safe. We've flattened the curve and are starting to reopen our communities. We can protect the people we love and help Californians get back on their feet. For our families and our communities, let's stay the course and stop the spread.
back. We were just alerted that the morning meeting, which was going to be at 9:30 this morning, has been canceled. That's the United Architectural Controls and Standards Committee meeting. So that has been canceled for this morning. All right, let's go ahead and tell you a couple of things here. Today, live at 10 o'clock, like I mentioned this morning, early in the program, we are going to have a town hall ballot proposition that will be live right here on Village Television. And as I said, that will be at 10 o'clock, and that will be Third Mutual who will be holding that, and they'll be talking about the ballot proposition that was recently voted on earlier this month. Okay. So let's move on, and we're going to tell you about the I Am Me First Holiday Edition. It's tonight at 7 p.m., and that is put on by the Theater Guild. And if you would like to follow along and listen in, you can send them an email requesting the Zoom link to theaterguildlw@outlook.com. And they're always very entertaining. And as I mentioned, this is their first holiday edition. So basically, people will be telling you a little bit about what's happened to them in holidays past and how it affects them. Some are fun, some are sad. A variety of different emotions will be had tonight at 7 p.m. Okay, the Theater Guild are going to have their Johnny Carson Show 2020 edition this weekend, Saturday at 2 p.m. at Clubhouse 5 parking lot. Now remember, you do have to have a ticket to get in, so make sure you go to amenities, recreation, and then ActiveNet, and you can click on that to get your $5 per vehicle ticket. And then another happening this weekend is the rummage sale, and that is going to be happening at the Florence Sylvester Senior Center. Now, you can still donate. Today is the last day to donate between 1 and 3. So if you have some items, just zip on over there. They'll come out, they'll get it out of your car. Or if you want to, you can get out of your car and drop it off. But the sale is on Saturday, November 21st from 8 to noon. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our weather. It is lovely, and the fog is already burning off, and it's going to be really delightful this week. Just a few low clouds this morning we had, but now it's burned off, and it's 69, 56 today. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 70, 54, and then sunny and nice the rest of the weekend. 70, 50 for Saturday, 73, 49 Sunday, and Monday is 72, 49. So as I mentioned, absolutely lovely. All right, have a great day in the Village. We'll see you again tomorrow here at 9 a.m. with the Jeff Parker update. And we also have some other board updates tomorrow and Monday. But if you want to watch our program again, you can see it at 12:30 and 5. Stay healthy. Have a great day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.